Hi guys, it's the 21st of May 2022. It's 1:40 in the afternoon, and yes, I am wearing the same jumper that I've been wearing for the last couple of days. I've been awake since, that's a little confusing. I woke up to wake up Rachel, and I did, thank goodness, because she'd actually gotten up, but she'd fallen back asleep on the couch, so I woke her up, and I stayed on the phone until I heard the shower running, and she was getting in the shower. So good for me, good for her, that's something done. I, on the other hand, then feel like there's something in my eye, but that's not what I was going to say. Reset my alarm for 8, which I think was dumb because I was like, let's face it, I have heaps to do, right guys, but my mental illnesses fuck with me really fucking bad, like mental illnesses do. If they didn't fuck with me, I wouldn't have them, I wouldn't be considered mentally ill, right? So I guess I need to get that clear with myself, because I watched the videos last night that I made. Obviously, I was more stoned and calmer in the second one, which I realised I repeated myself in. But the first one, it even made me cry when I'd stopped crying, but it made me cry watching it back. And again, these are why I post these kinds of videos, because this is real life and this is what's happening. But I realised something yesterday watching myself back and talking about the things that I talk about. And it's definitely not a God I believe in. I don't believe there's someone in the sky controlling everything we do. And I do believe that where we vibrate at is where we're at. The problem is, though, that as a collective consciousness across our world, we're all really fucked up. All of us have our own levels of that. And I know I've said that last night. And I talk about having faith. But I think it hit me last night that it's faith in us that I have to hold on to, as in the people on the planet, because it's only us that can fix this. I spend all my time trying to figure me out because shit like what happened yesterday is horrific. I can't explain to the next person what it's like when I'm in that feeling. And I feel like I can't breathe because, you know, I spent years working on myself, and I'm very, very grateful that I've gotten to the point where I can pull myself out of it faster. But again, let's be honest, yesterday I took 2 Valium and I smoked weed, and I wasn't happy. I was just so flat. You know, and I watched the latest Staircase episode and again put shit in perspective. There are so many things in this world going on that doesn't affect me personally, that is just so much bigger and worse than what I'm dealing with. And I know this. I don't understand why everyone's so worried about what happens when we die. I don't understand that. Because we all need to be nice to better, kinder, not better, whatever people that we can be, compassionate, empathetic. And I'm doing my absolute best at trying to be that person. But yesterday in the first video, I said what I believe to be true. It is so much harder to rise above the pain. It is, guys. Sinking into the nothingness, I'm sure most people will agree, is just a simpler, easier default reaction that we have as humans. You know, growing and evolving is difficult. It's hard. It takes work. It takes strength. It takes resilience. I know this. You know, it gets to a point in my life sometimes where I'm like sick of being told I'm strong and resilient. It's like I just want to feel safe and secure, you know? And my life is good, and I know this. And I know that I will be okay. I know that angels are watching over me. I know this. I know that I have been in far, far worse situations than I'm in right now. Dangerous situations and living situations where I've had to flee from people trying to break into my room, people stealing my motorbike or my snake, like living with heroin addicts and just people that have come out of prison. Like, as it stands, I'm in a good place. Like, I've rationally thought through it all. You know, it's the 21st of May. I have not been given notice. My rent comes out on the 1st of every month. So my rent will come out on the 1st of June, I'm sure of it, without hearing anything. Because if nothing else, the big sign out the front says that there'll be no decisions made on permits for this property before the 6th of June. Meaning that I'm guessing, I'm a relatively intelligent person, but this is guesswork, that the builders that are listed on the permit plan at the front are the potential buyers. Should the permits go through, which I'm pretty sure they will, well, they have before, but I don't know what's changed with COVID and whatnot, then they will be the ones that take over the property. Now, I could call them and be like, hey, if it goes through, what are your plans on when do you plan on knocking down the house, yada, yada, yada. I may do that on Monday. I haven't decided. In all fairness, I woke up Rachel this morning, reset my alarm, slept through that, turned it off, kept sleeping, and then I've been like on and off again, awake, lying in bed, hugging boss. And my phone wasn't charged, it was like on half or whatever. And I could see there was a message there, and there was all these comments coming up, and I just didn't feel brave enough to open my phone. Does anyone else ever feel like that, where it's just like, it's too hard, I'm too afraid, I can't do this. It doesn't matter that I'm going to be 37 this year. I'm closer to 40 than I am 30. It makes absolutely no fucking difference that I'm a grown-up when I feel like a giant child with no protector. And the thing that Pam said at dinner is going to stick with me because I've just never thought of it before. And interesting enough, I gave them these websites. I told them it's not really what I would say parental safe. It's not work safe, apparently, from everyone that knows, and I won't disclose for a while. Just something told me to give it to them. And I guess if my father wants to learn all about me, all he has to do is do what Andrew did across the road and go back to the beginning and read and watch everything. I've warned them that there are things that they might not like. I've warned them that they've been mentioned. I've warned them that there are massive trigger warnings on videos. But this is what I'm doing and what I'm going to keep doing. And so I slept on and off until I felt brave enough to open my phone. Now, I'm very much a spiritual person, and we all have our own beliefs, and I understand that. But back when my spiritual awakening started, things started happening that I couldn't understand or comprehend. And obviously, I did some deep diving through, Google and finding people like me and things like that. And one of the things, it's so simple, but one of the things that I believe and hold on to is that the angels talk to us through numbers. And when I picked up my phone, it was 1:11 p.m. And just that number alone was enough to help me to smile and to open my phone up. And the text was what I assumed. It was some bullshit spam thing, which not spam, it's something that I've been opted into for specials and stuff, and I've just decided, no, fuck it, I don't need this crap anymore, so I've opted out. Obviously, I've read them comments and whatnot on my videos, and I appreciate all of you. Thank you very much. I've spoken to a friend who lives in the eastern suburbs, my friend from the UK. And I asked her where she lives because, I now need to start looking, and I don't even know the suburbs. Like, I tried to Google Maps last night for Victoria or Melbourne suburbs. It wasn't clear enough. I put in all that I could remember, but I just couldn't remember enough. And it was making me depressed because in this area where I am, I know I won't get a house even as nice as mine. I say my house is falling apart, but it is on the outside. On the inside, I fucking love where I live. And like I said, I've always known this day was coming. It's just I wasn't expecting it, and I just wasn't expecting it to happen the way it was, like the way it is with the sign, with no notice. It's the feeling of having the safetyness and the secureness ripped out from under me that causes me to end up the way that I did yesterday. And I wouldn't wish that on anyone. Because like I said, there's all the rational, yep, I know everything will be okay, while at the same time, every single worst case scenario happening. And I'm not kidding. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, the only thing I'd have major issues with if I was to opt to sleep in my car for a while, if I had to, is what I would need to do with Boss on the days where I've got things I need to do, and Sebastian. Now, that random man who I met years ago from next door knocked on my door recently asking about Sebastian and the snake. I don't want to get rid of him, but at the same time, you know, if say they wanted to take him, I'd give them to him. Or there's always options, and I know this, and I do know that everything's okay. It's just I just really wish I felt more safe and secure. Not having my own home is always going to be that for me. And I know lots and lots of people don't, and I understand that, and I'm in the same boat, really. You know, I get sad because I've owned 2 houses, and now I pay $100 a week rent, and I know that wherever I go will be 300 and up for, like, to get a house nicer than mine. Instead of like at the same level, it's the difference between say 350 and 450, 400, right? Now, you know, again, my friend, she actually responded, told me where she's living, and she's like, it's too expensive here. She's looking in different suburbs and she's looking to move. So I've asked her, you know, are you planning on staying with the current housemate you have and both moving, or are you open to the idea of looking together? There are certain people I can live with because these people know what I'm like and they know what I deal with. I spoke to a person last night about a shared house that's right near my campus, but it was all full-time workers, all knew each other, all that, and I want to be able to say I can do that, but I can't do that. I don't know. I can't be around strangers when shit like last night happens. And that's the truth of it. And but my friend I would like to live, you know, I could live with if that was an option. I mean, the worst comes to worst, I would, I guess, like I have a house full of furniture. You know, like I could apply for, you know, a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, living room space or whatever, you know, and rent out half the house. Again, though, like I'm one person living on a disability, you know, you don't get much on that, you guys. And I'm not saying I'm not grateful, because believe you me, I'm fucking grateful. Of course I am. But, you know, a month's worth of medication cost me $1,000. So, like, when I leave this home, it's going to change everything. You know, like where I'm here, I'm comfortably able to pay for everything fine. My bills, my meds, my school, everything like that. And I have faith in the universe. I do. I have faith. And again, I'm saying I have faith in the universe. This is true. But when it comes to our planet and all the bullshit going on, it's the people we need to have faith in. I'm the one of billions of us, guys. And that's why I share. Because, you see it on the news, one person goes missing and there's like an entire search team looking for them, or, one person gets killed and it's just so horrific. And it's like, what about all the people like me who are just so alone, who feel like that they could disappear and it wouldn't matter? I'm not saying I'm lonely. There's a hell of a difference. I'm not lonely, but I'm alone. And I don't have a protector, and I don't have someone that I can go to who makes me feel like it's going to be okay. I have my friends, and they're amazing, but they're my friends. It's different. And I guess I just do what I do when I feel like that, and I come to my room because my bed is my safe space. This is what I know from childhood, and this is how I lived with a mum who came to a room and stayed there, and this is my safe space, and everything will be okay. I know that. It just doesn't, unfortunately, fix all the problems that I live with, If I could snap my fingers and get above all the bullshit I live with, if all of us could do that, none of us would have issues. None of us would have mental problems. Mental health wouldn't be a thing, I believe in a world where it's not. I believe in a world where we are harmonious with each other, where the world understands that we are not divided. It's not you versus us, me versus them. It's us together. We are all connected. It's so simple to see, and yet the world is falling apart. It's becoming worse. I look at the states and I think about the people in the different places where you can't get an abortion. Like, it's not our right to choose. I'm always going to be one of those people who are like, there's no such thing as an accidental birth. You're having sex without protection. You know how babies are made. But if you're doing absolutely everything right, and you are using all your protection, and you are on birth control, and you are using condoms and all of that stuff, and it still happens, then yeah, that person should be allowed to have a choice. Of course they should. Who is it? Who thinks that it's right for any of us to decide? We all have to do what we can to help the next person as well as ourselves. There's just so much that's happened in my life, and it's like, it has taken this long to get to a point where I truly felt very secure. Because this day of moving, I always just thought it was going to be a while away, But it has to be when it has to be, right? And as long as I have my baby, it's making heaps of noise in the background, that's what counts to me, I will figure it out. People figure it out. I've seen the news. There are whole families living in cars. Like, that's enough to break me. It makes me want to cry thinking about it. It'd be hard enough if me and boss have to live in my car, but at least I have a station wagon where I already know from camping experiences that we fit very comfortably. I'm very capable of being a minimalistic person. I don't need fucking hardly anything. And I know this. I just want to know how to get past these things like yesterday, and I'm trying really, really hard to focus on the fact that it's not even been 24 hours, and I'm come through it and seeing it with a different light, with a different perspective. Like, I did again yesterday with so many things, started multiple sentences that I didn't realize I didn't finish until I watched back. But one of the things I said to my father at dinner was, the big big picture style, I truly believe that my soul and your soul knew that this was going to happen. Like, my soul chose you and my mom to be my parents. And when it comes to determinism and fate and things like that, yeah, I fully understand how confusing the whole thing gets. I'm a philosopher more than I am anything else in the world. And I know this. Again, I studied psychology because I've already finished my philosophy part of my degree. I study psychology because that's what's going to help me understand people. When it comes to the philosophy side of stuff, I've got a pretty good handle on that. I just don't know how to explain any of it yet. And, there's hundreds of philosophers before me in the same situation. But I do believe that as souls, we are born into situations that we knew were going to happen. We don't know they're going to happen because we are wiped clean of any kind of memory at birth. But again, it comes down to we have to be the ones that pick ourselves up. We have to. And it's fucking hard. It's so hard, guys. This planet we live in is falling apart and it's just so vibrating, so low. There are people here on the planet like myself that truly believe that we are here to help something bigger than us. Like, I met the other half of my literal fucking soul to put me in this situation, to show me what it is that I have to do to help raise the vibrations of this planet into love, because as cheesy and as dorky and as whatever our society has made it come across to be like, I truly believe unconditional love for all is the answer. But again, I don't have even unconditional love for myself. I think that's quite clear when you see me falling apart. If I had pure unconditional love for myself, I wouldn't deal with the very, very many scary suicidal thoughts that I do. Only person or people that I can honestly say I have true unconditional love for is a man I haven't seen for 6 years, who I call Mr. X, and my dog, Boss, and a fictional character named Dr. Frankenfurter. So that really shows where I'm at. I am at a point in my life where I couldn't give a fuck what anyone thinks about my love for Mr. X, because it's through what I went through with him that got me here. And as funny as it might seem, and as much as it might not sound like it's the case, I am genuinely happy in my life. I like my life. I have a really good life. I do have wonderful friends. I, am in a situation where, thank fuck, I actually do have the money I'm going to need for bond and first month's rent. I have that. I have been telling myself for ages that I, can live a lot more cheaply than I do. I mean, yeah, I buy the fancy vegan stuff and I eat like a queen and I do what I want and I waste money. I know that. I do. But truthfully, I can live with Marmite on toast and jam on crumpets. I can live on just plain bread, it turns out. Randy taught me that one. He just wanted plain bread with no nothing else, and then I started eating plain pieces of bread, and I was like, wow, he's right. There are places people go, truck stops. I remember flying to Cairns, I think say it right, years ago once. And me and 3 other people hired a van and we travelled the way down. We basically lived at truck stops and, camping parks and things like that. Like, I know that there's always going to be an answer. I know that. I just really want to get to a point where it doesn't hurt so much when shit fucking shocks me to this level of pure and utter terror. That's what it is. Because it's now become very, very apparent to all my doctors, my new psychiatrist, people, that when shit like yesterday happens and I'm with someone, I'm not reacting to what is happening around me. I don't know if that comes across in these videos, but I have such severe complex PTSD because of my childhood, remember guys, like to the point where this new psychiatrist is like, your complex PTSD is so bad that it almost nullifies the borderline personality disorder, because the PTSD is far, far worse. And that means that when shit like yesterday happens, the 36-year-old me isn't reacting. I mean, I can feel like I'm going to cry talking about it. The child within me is. I've never ever felt safe. I love my mum so fucking much. I love it. I love her so much. And I miss her. And I miss my family. I love my sister. She was in my dreams last night. I kept having nightmares, and last night was the same. Last night I can remember it was like it was right there, and it's the same theme in the dream. I wasn't safe. I had nowhere to go. I was supposed to be staying with someone, and then that fell apart, and the same thing. And I can see these like vivid memories just flashing through my mind of the nightmares that I had, and my sister was there, and I miss her, and I talk about being a big giant kid because that's what I feel like. The only time I feel like I'm able to be the protector, or I'm able to be the adult, or I'm able to be the grown up is if I have to help somebody else. When I can help someone else, I don't know how to explain it, okay? It's different. Like, I woke up and called Rachel this morning. I had promised her I would, and I fucked up yesterday, and I felt so bad. Today is voting day here in Australia. I'm not a citizen, I'm not a resident, none of it fucking affects me, because, if it did, imagine how much easier my life would be. I'd be on the NDIS like I should be. But I'm not, and that's okay. But I'm not gonna let fear beat me. Because it is trying to beat me. I feel like I'm lucky in the sense that I feel like, let's say 97%, because you don't know shit 100%, I don't think, but let's say 97% of me believes that I will live until an old age, or to whenever I'm meant to, and not die by suicide, yeah? Unfortunately, that 97% of me doesn't fix any of the shit that I live with, or the fact that I can kill myself at any given moment. I could do it without even leaving my bedroom, quite frankly. And that's not me just being blasé. That's just me being matter of fact. And I did. I said to Pam, I was like, it's my faith. But now it's like all these visions are fucking flashing back from when this started, when my spiritual awakening started, when I was on the ice, when I was just like in a much, much worse state than I am now. It was the people I have faith in. There's a quote I wrote once. I know it's in my meditation room, I think. And I remember saying it to Mr. X. I said, that'll be what I'll be known for one day. And he was like, it's a long quote. And I'm like, but it's a good one. Because you got to remember, he was a part of all of this. He knows what I believe. He felt it too. he just let the fear win. And again, I say that, but I also say it in the sense of, at soul level, we both knew it was going to happen. Like I said to my father the other day, I was like, I, for the love of God, can't understand how you and my mother were married to begin with. And Pam sort of said the same thing and laughed a bit. And I was like, no. I said, as far as I'm concerned, the reason that you and my mother were married was simply for me and my sister and brother to be born. Because that's the only thing that makes any fucking sense. Like, you know, he hates the fact that he doesn't have a relationship with my brother. And I'm like, I don't have a relationship with my brother. You know, don't take it personally, so to speak. Our childhood was fucked. And he feels all this guilt. He feels so guilty. And I'm like, well, as long as you keep holding on to this guilt, our relationship ain't going to get better either, because I'm not blaming you. I don't blame fucking anybody. My mum is sick. Okay, my mum has very clearly got many mental illnesses, okay, but she's 70 this year. The genre, whatever the fucking is, you know, right's the wrong. We're a generation where she didn't fucking, like I said last night, the more I tune into her, the more offended she becomes, and that's just on its own really difficult to fucking deal with. But I am like her, except the difference between me and my mum is I am working my fucking ass off to figure out how to fix this. Because I don't want to live with suicidal thoughts for the rest of my life, because just because I think that that's not actually going to happen doesn't mean I can deal with everything else. Thankfully, Vance was able to fix my laptop computer charger thing. Thank God. So it saved me $100. People are watching my videos and commenting as it is happening. Well, obviously the other ones. I don't know, guys. I thought I would clarify something, though. I know I probably started stories again. I haven't finished, but fuck it. I don't really care. This is how I make my videos. I eventually finished them all once I watched them back. I think I was talking about like maybe veganism or something the other day, and how I'm not one of those people who preach, because I was a meat eater who ate meat like 3 times a day and literally fought my argument at the Philosophical Society in university about why I would be a meat eater for the rest of my life. Yeah. Now I stopped eating meat not because I wanted to, so to speak. I talk about my higher self and my ego because I do, light and dark, good and bad, you know. And I'm not talking borderline personality disorder, black and white thinking. I've learned to see the grey, people. Let's just clarify that, yeah. But I couldn't keep eating meat because I woke up to the realization that I truly do not believe you can be a full animal lover and then eat them. It doesn't make any sense. But again, our society is raised to compartmentalize basically everything. I was the best compartmentalizer there was. That's how I survived. That's how I lived my life. I have made a vow to myself not to lie, probably because I'm a really good one. It's not something to be proud of, but people say that they don't like to be friends with people with borderline personality disorder because people with a BPD are manipulators. It's in their personality, guys. It's not necessarily because that's what they want to be like or how they want to be. They probably just don't fucking know any better. I don't believe that I knew any better at the time. I knew how to get what I wanted most of the time. I never put it down to manipulation or lying, but I keep dreaming about smoking ice. Let's talk about that. Oh, it's been in so many of my dreams lately. And in my dreams, when I smoke ice, I'm hiding it. Yeah? I'm always hiding it. I've got vivid memories of the dreams because they very much overlap with what happened in reality. You know, I didn't hide the fact that I smoked ice for very long. not the last couple of years at least. But I don't want to smoke it, obviously. I keep thinking about the conversation I had with Pam and Vance, my fucking father and stepmother, about how I believe if you fix the problem, you don't need the fucking external, you know. And obviously, yesterday, I can't help but go, well, I'm clearly not nearly as fixed as I think I am. But I don't want to smoke ice, and yet I dream about it, and I dream about it as in I'm hiding it, which to me highlights how important it is that I continue to keep being honest, because I truly don't believe lying gets us anywhere. I'm not saying you need to tell the whole truth and the full truth. You can leave shit to yourself. You don't need to tell everything. I would love to tell you all the exact story about me and Mr. X and why I love this person so much and why I will love him until I die. Yeah, I would love that. But I also know that if I tell that story, it's not going to come out right. It's probably going to make everything even more confusing than it already is, because I'm pretty sure if you've read or heard my stuff, there are plenty of times where I've bitched about him and what he did and all the stuff and everything like that. And yet again, like I've said, I plugged in my charger, but I didn't actually plug in the charger. See, that's where I'm at, people. Now we're charging. And I guess what I wanted to say is, the reason I'm talking about this is, I'm never going to be one of those people that preach, yeah? Because you're like, we all wake up at our own level, you know? When I talk about a spiritual awakening, it's literally in the name, yeah? You are waking up spiritually. Your spirit becomes aware of the fact that you're like, oh, okay, there's so much more at play than this. And again, I'm very much going to clarify, we're not talking religion. Religion is man-made. Let's get this one clear. Religion is how people control other people, okay? The simple fact that the churches and the religions are worth how much fucking money and don't pay anything, and there are people without homes and without food and famine and third world countries show that religion is bullshit as far as I'm concerned. It's man-made. It's all in a book. I'll write a fucking book. I'm going to make videos for the rest of my life. And you can take what you want from it. And it's like, I guess the point I'm trying to get to is that we all have our vices. Yeah, we all have our bullshit. Like me. See? I'm still fucking vaping e-cigarettes. I stopped for a good fucking 92 days. I did really well. Then I decided to stop vaping so much. And I did. I don't even remember what it was that made me go, oh, yeah, no, I was with Grant, and I knew, I'd said to him, I'm going to smoke. I know I'm going to have a cigarette. So I knew, and I did, and then I bought that. But it's weird in the sense of knowing things. Like I was telling Pam and Vance about how with my sister, I had intuitively packed everything before it all fell apart at dinner that night. And it's sort of the same. I took a photo of it and I'll post it. It's a little post-it note in my kitchen from when I was making my uni notes, yeah? And I'd planned on gluing them all because, like the butterflies in the living room, I printed them all out and they're all glued onto my living room wall and I love them. I just didn't think about the fact that that'll mean, I did think about it and I didn't care, but with the notes on the uni, something said to me, that fucking coffee is cold, something said to me, don't glue them. And I remember having a little thing in my head and being like, well, of course I'm going to glue them. I'm going to be here for ages. Like, they've already told me the house is burnt down. They cannot do anything with this house until that's rebuilt. They didn't want to sell. They said all of that. And yet, it got to the point where I literally wrote myself a note on a post-it note and I stuck it on my kitchen cupboard and it said, do not glue the uni notes onto the wall. You must blue tack them. It's going to take longer, sure, but you must blue tack them. And I remember thinking, it's got to be because I'm going to take them with me. And that was like my intuitive thought, like they're coming with me. And I'm like, but I'm not going anywhere. And then it's like, well, I'm really happy I fucking blue tacked the bloody things and not fucking glued them. And it's, like, I don't know, 60-day settlement, even like I've said, if they still, like, everyone, as I've spoken to the people I've spoken to, I've still got rights, I still got to get notice. Grant has been in the situation I'm in the sense of he has a storage locker with a house full of stuff in it, so I know that he can help me. Worst comes to worst, boss is my best friend in the world. Like, I know he'll be fine. I've plenty of friends that I believe would potentially let me, if it got down to the worst case scenario, would, maybe look after him if I really needed it, for a week or two. And just, I know everything will be okay. I do, I know that. I hate feeling so scared. I talk about love versus fear, and when you're in a vibrating place of love, you're always going to be okay, because where you're vibing at is where your attraction's at. And I'm going to keep talking about this until it makes sense to the next person, but again, if you haven't spiritually awoken like I have, and I can tell you right now, I fucking talk to basically everybody, alright? I talk to everyone. It's only people who have been through awakenings like I have that truly understand what I'm talking about. Like, I understand religious people. My father and stepmother are born again Christians, for example. I see where they're coming from. I've read the Bible. I've done all of that. I can agree to an extent with some of their beliefs. But it's usually only the ones where they truly feel it. Like, if you truly believe something because you know it to be real and true because you've lived it and experienced it and are living it, that's different to like, oh, I'm going to read this fucking book and this is what this is said. Like the Bible literally contradicts itself so fucking many times. Like, talk about cherry picking religious people, whereas spirituality is different. It is. Everybody has it themselves. My soul is like, stop me from eating meat because it cracked up fucking shit. Stops me from eating cheese and fucking dairy, When I stopped being a meat eater and a seafood eater, I went straight to like creamy cheesy food. It was awesome. And then again, it's this, as much as I want to, I want to eat eggs. I'd live off egg sandwiches for the rest of my life. I would. I love eggs. I can't buy eggs, okay, guys? Don't ask me if I can try to explain it any more than I have, because I can't. I just can't. And it's just, but I guess this is all happening again. As I've said, everything's in play. I've just got to keep holding on and having the faith. And at the moment, I think I'm just going to focus on what I need to. Get my work stuff done. I still have to study, if I have to move once uni starts, like that's something that's really going to be difficult. And again, I'm praying that some of my friends that I know who've got big dogs and stuff, they might be able to help me, because if I have to live in my car with uni, I will just stay on uni campus where there's Wi-Fi and everything I need. And I got an email recently saying that, the university is no longer charging for printing anymore, which is amazing, because you used to have to pay, like, I don't know, what was it, 10 cents for black and white, 25 for colour, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, all of that has changed. Everything is free now in that regard. I had an email yesterday sent to me about, confirming what units I'm enrolled in. As we know, I've got my textbooks, I've got my notes, I've got everything ready to go. Like I can study without a computer, and I can go to my campus where there's obviously Wi-Fi and everything I need and things like that. And, you know, setting up a bed in the back of my car, easy. And I wouldn't be the first one to do it, because when I was doing my AOD course, I remember the lady, like the overall lady in charge of it, was saying that they deal with so much, because we were learning about alcohol and other drugs, homelessness, things like that. And she used this example of the student emailing her, freaking out because she didn't know if she was going to get what she needed submitted by the timeline, because she was living in her car. And when you live in your car, I mean, well, camping's all well and good. I've never obviously lived in a car before. It literally breaks my heart and makes me want to cry every time I turn on the news and I see that it's not just one person or a couple, but there are people with children living in cars. So, yuck, fucking gross. Another reason I should not be smoking, but life goes on. Like I said, we all have our vices, right? But I have decided that in the meantime, I'm obviously going to keep looking. I'm obviously going to do whatever it takes that I have to. But I've decided that since I actually do have like a pantry full of food, right? Now, I am one of those people, like I said, I love eating. I do. I actually love food. I hate cooking. That's not, I hate, it's not hate. I don't like the word hate in general. It's just a dumb word, but I'm not a fan of cooking. And I was saying it to Pam the other day. I was like, it's probably because I had to learn very, very young how to cook and clean and do washing and do all of that, so that my little sister and brother were okay, as well as myself, during the weeks that my mum refused to come out of her room. And like, she'd come out of her room just to tell us where she'd never been born and we were not worth the air that we breathed. Now, that's a lot. That's a lot. I don't have fuck all good memories of my childhood. Like I said, I stayed with my father. I think I was like around 12. I have literally got one fucking memory. One. And that's it. One. Of being up there. It's like, and again, I'm sure I've mentioned it. My doctors, shrinks, psychiatrists, whatever they are, have all agreed that there is no way we're going back to try and get those memories back, because my life is pretty fucked up as it is with my mental illnesses. And remember, I've got plenty of physical illnesses too that just add on. Like just my bladder medication alone is $66 for 30 tablets, guys. And I absolutely need that. So I don't like cooking, but I don't hate it either. But I do spend a lot of money on food. Like, I'm gonna say that I don't remember the last time I went shopping and I didn't spend at least $100. Um, and I'm always adding on, right? Like my cupboard, for example, is full of things like beans and tomatoes and pastas and all sorts of stuff. I can live a pasta for the next however long I live here. I will effective immediately not be buying any of the vegan food. No vegan desserts, no chocolates, no fucking vegan patties or sausage rolls, none of that. It's all got to go. It's got to stop. I have to eat what I've got. I will live on bread and margarine, fucking bread and Marmite if I have to, because I do have the funds for the first month's bond and rent. Yes, I always wanted to have at least 2 or 3 months rent in advance so that I didn't have to stress, yeah? Because, like I said, I don't think I knew any of this until dinner the other night when Pam said it. But I've just never felt safe and secure. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that. and it makes so much sense. So I'm going to, as it stands, yep, my internet's still costing me a bit, which is sucky. I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I've literally just paid it like 2 days ago, so the next month's sorted. Obviously, like I said, my rent comes out on the 1st. I've already got that aside. I've got money aside for bills. I am one of those people who have multiple accounts to keep track of everything so that I know that, my bills and my rent get paid. I've got my savings. I've got my normal everyday account, things like that. All of that sort of stuff. Like, it'll be all, But I did decide last night as I was falling asleep that I will be living, basically, I'm just going to live on what I've got. I will not be spending money on fucking anything. I think, truthfully, the only thing I really feel like I need to buy, and I can hopefully just get a real cheap pair from Kmart or the supermarket, is slippers, because it's cold and my slippers are basically, they hurt to use. I put they've stretched and they're wide and they're whatever, and they need to go in the bin. But honestly, besides slippers, which I should be able to get for less than $10, I am just going to save every single bit that I fucking possibly can. Boss is doing alright. He's okay. Everything's okay. My car's okay, thankfully, so that's good. And I'm just going to hold on to that. I'm going to hold on to the fact that everything's okay. I'm okay. I know that, once my job starts picking up, we start doing more stuff, and, I know I'm abundant. I know I am. I know I am. And again, this is what I say, guys. Dissociation is a fucking head bug, because yesterday I felt like two very different people during that video where I just couldn't stop crying. I still have to message Grant and apologise and be like, I know he'll be fine because he's been with me the longest. He's my longest friend. But I still need to message him and be like, I'm sorry I fell apart, and then just hung up. It's definitely not the first time I've done that to him. It's probably more like a dozen times I've done it to him. But I'm still going to message him. I'm feeling better. And I think since I've talked for almost an hour, it's 52 and a half minutes, I'm going to wrap this up. So I definitely need more coffee, but I'm going to say that what I'm choosing to hold on to right now, and what I'm choosing to focus on for now, is the fact that it is not 24 hours and I'm okay. I have not had any weed, not oil, not vape, not anything. I have got backup supplies at Rachel's, since I won't be buying any anytime soon. I really have to keep taking my CBD oil. That's the one thing I know I have to figure out. That and my bladder medication are the most expensive medications I take, because my CBD oil is a 50 ml bottle and it's $300. So, as I've explained in videos before, I am supposed to take 1 ml in the morning and 1 ml at night, meaning that there would be 25 days available at $300. I'm already pushing it out to 1/2 ml in the morning and 1/2 ml at night, so that the $300 lasts me 50 days instead. I still have an unopened bottle, which is good, and have not finished the current one I've got. But I have lived in pain my whole life, and I have good medication pain-wise. I do get a cheaper rate on the disability, and I will survive, because that is what I do. I survive, and I'll keep surviving. And I know it'll be okay. And I think, like I said, the fact that I'm feeling so much better in such a short amount of time is helping me. I'm going to keep my eye out on properties, but I am not, absolutely not going to do what I've done in the past, and that is rush into something, because I will be so sad and disappointed if I feel like I'm rushed into a house. Like, for example, I've been to both the houses on either side of me, okay, guys? They're just normal rental properties. The house, this guys, with the people that smoke ice, the house is nice, don't get me wrong. It's not as nice as mine, okay? The rooms aren't as big. The living room would be a quarter of the size of mine. Not the living room, the kitchen or whatever. But the rent is like $350 next door. I'm fairly certain the rent is the same on the other side. Now, the house has been empty since May last year because it's for sale. Now, if it was just the fact that this house was going on the market, that'd be one thing. It's the fact that I've now realised that these potential buyers that my landlord keeps talking about and not giving me any answers of are the builders on that permit. So I think first thing I'm probably going to do on Monday is call them, say, hey, I'm the one living in this house. I'd just like some information so I know what's going on. And I believe I have that right. And that's sort of, I think, my plan of attack. I have my work meeting on Tuesday, face to face. I'm going to focus on that. Looking forward to that. Still trying to figure out a good title for the workshop if anyone wants to help. I hadn't realised until my meeting yesterday that we're trying to avoid using the word anxiety because the theme is social anxiety, but as my teammates pointed out, it can be quite confronting. A lot of people don't like to admit they have social anxiety or anxiety of any kind, and if the word anxiety is, say, in the title of the workshop, it might actually cause people to not want to come. So now I've got to get my think tank on and try and think of a interesting title that's going to help people want to come. Something around the let's have a conversation about. If anyone can come up with anything they think's cool, please pop it in the comments. I know this is a very long video, but I just guess I needed to get this out of me and off my chest. So I'm not going to give myself any strict sort of whatever today. I'm just going to go with the flow, see how I go, turn on my motorbike, maybe give that a dust down, double check what's happening tomorrow because, that gives me something to also focus on, going for a motorbike ride, which will be fun. I might even check in with the person I'm going with to see if they're going to be going to the dog park today because, again, I haven't walked Boss in a little while. But yeah, I think that's me for now, guys, and at 58 minutes and 11 seconds, I think that's probably enough. Talk later.